Welcome everybody to Wednesday night's live. I am a little early, but I'm not going to spend an hour tonight. I'm going to really try hard to make it through this live with the messages that I have been channeling during the day today without crying. It's just I'm gonna warn everybody that this topic is hello D is very triggering, and by triggering I mean it's going to activate some emotions, and it's going to bring forward it'll possibly bring up memories for you. And I'll just start right there before I go into the topic, because the topic is pets. And my friend just put her pet down tonight, and I know what that feels like. So if you're watching, comment on here if you've ever had to put a pet down, or any kind of animal. It might not even be a pet. You might have had to, let a cow or a horse or like a farm animal, or like maybe you hit a deer, or you hit a dog or something like that. So when I say triggering, I'll back up because I'm like, there's so much I want to say. When I say triggering, triggers are, they're not something that we should shy away from. A lot of people say like, oh, well, this is triggering. Okay, so you don't want that person to watch your video? Well, being triggered, and I don't really like the word trigger, so I'm going to change it to activated or stimulated, or when we remember, when the body remembers, because that's essentially what it is. The body is remembering something that happened to you. And so when the body remembers something that happened to you, hello, is it Krissa? Hello, keep watching. When the body remembers something that has happened to us, from my experience, because I'm used to get activated, triggered a lot, and from my experience, there's something that needs to be healed, something that needs to be let go, something that needs to be released, a lesson that you need to learn, or maybe a behavior that needs to be changed. There's action that needs to be done. And if you keep dousing it and walking away from it and never really allowing to sit in your own dirty bathwater, every time it comes up, it snowballs, because it's going to keep latching on to something because you're not giving it the attention it needs. So it's going to keep latching on to other things and other things to make you so it gets your attention. If that didn't get your attention, it's going to keep latching on to other things that maybe will get your attention. So don't be scared of being triggered. If it comes up, try to ask yourself, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling about this? And we even get triggered with good things too, but we tend to kind of focus negatively towards negative triggers. So when I say, when I warn you that this is going to trigger you, it's not like I'm going to force you to sit here and watch my video about pets. It's just, I want to let people know that I'm going to prepare you, and I'm going to allow you to surrender to that feeling that comes forward. That's what my goal is by announcing that this might activate you or might trigger you, and that the body might remember something that happened to you. It can prepare you for the feelings or the emotions or the memories that come forward, okay? So I don't want you to stop watching. I just want to prepare you so that you allow those feelings to come forward. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I wasn't quite sure of the topic. I was kind of racking my brain on a topic to talk about tonight. And if you've been watching me long enough, you know that it's usually something that happens that day or that week, or something that I've been currently exposed to. Now, my friend has been dealing with an ill pet, and it finally came down to her decision, to my friend's decision to let her pet go. And that is triggering me and activating my memories from when we had to do that for my pet. And sometimes everything happens for a reason. And sometimes when things happen for a reason, they happen, and sometimes we don't even realize that they're happening for a reason until later. And there's a reason for that too. So if something happens, and say like somebody says, well, all this is it's divine timing. And you're like, well, what is so divine about this? Because it might be something that's hard that you're going through. And so to just let that go of the reason why this is happening, and just let it happen. Because maybe the message isn't, maybe everything happens for a reason. So maybe the reason it's happening, and the reason why you don't understand why it's happening, is because you're not supposed to understand it yet. And maybe that's part of the reason why things are happening the way that they are happening. So like you can just go down the deep rabbit hole with that. So that was also like what came forward is, everything happens for a reason. And sometimes it's not what happens, but when it happens is the message. And so kind of when I was with my friend and with the pet, I was tapping into the energy. And I was like, okay, like, because my friend was like, does she know what's going on? And I'm like, well, pets are very intuitive. So yes, this pet is fully aware of the frequency. And my friend had expressed that there was different behavior going on with the other pets. And I said, yes, because intuition and energy is all based around frequency. And that's why we feel connected to places, things, people, pets, because of the way that frequency connects with our frequency. Because we are all frequencies. We are all energy. And I said, now know that, after the energy subsides from your pet, that the other pets might be kind of confused because they're so used to functioning around that frequency. And they might misbehave. and they might not be able to, make it to the bathroom, or they might chew up something that they would never, ever, ever chew up, and you have to, I was explaining to my friend, like, it's very important that you try to stay on your routines with the animals and not just go like nothing happened, but they need to acclimate. Everybody needs to acclimate now to that energy that is just, it's shifting, and it's here, it's not here, she's here. They can still feel her, you can still feel her. The routines are going to be, you're going to be doing the same thing, and it's going to be where like you almost like see the pet. This is from experience, because like I was like, oh, I don't have to feed the dog anymore because it's not here, or I don't have to like let the dog out at that 9 o'clock at night, and I don't have to make room in the bed for the dog. So like there's all those little things that we do that we no longer need to do after the pet is gone. And sometimes that can be a lingering, painful grief, but I realize, and I know that we have to go through it. There's a reason for it. Kind of like I said before, with everything happens for a reason. There's a reason that those things are happening, and there's a reason why those things are making you feel bad and sad that for what you did, or how the pet died, or whatever. My point is all that is going to happen for a reason, and it's going to bring up many different out of topic emotions, that because grief is layered. Grief is layered. And once we experience grief and we experience it again, the other, like what you experienced with like grief from something else could also be attached to grief with something new. You hear what I'm saying? Like something new, the grief from something new could trigger you from a grief from something else. So maybe having your pet pass is going to bring up stuff from like another pet that passed, or another person that passed, or something that you like, not death, but something that you haven't dealt with, or something that you lost, like maybe a divorce, or maybe you lost a job, or you don't live in the same location. Like grief has a way of kind of wedging it into your shadow and your ego, and just kind of wreaking havoc on what was going on in your life. So I didn't warn her, but I prepped her as much as I could. And I said, give everybody grace and give everybody some patience, because the energies are going to acclimate. And there's a timeline. Everybody's got their own way of processing. Everybody's got their own speed of processing. Like one pet might just like not even care. And then the other pet just might go into like where the red fern grows, and just go into deep kind of like a depressive state. And that happens. But the other message that came forward was really kind of cool, that I hadn't thought about when Nigel passed. And it was, pets are here for a reason. They're domesticated for us, but they're for us to soothe us, to protect us, to comfort us. That is their job, and to keep us company and to be our companions. That essentially is the job of a dog. And it's to listen. And it's funny because like everybody, I've heard the thing like dog backwards is God. So like everything that, all the essence and all the warmth and the support and the love and the light that God provides. You're supposed to look at your dog the way that you look at God, and especially when they pass, it really is, you really appreciate your pets a lot more, I think, when it's time to say goodbye to them. And pets have that unconditional love. And why, the question that rose when I was channeling this was, why, if there is an animal, a presence, an energy that can love us unconditionally, no matter what. We yell at our dogs and they still want to love us. We kind of kick them sometimes and they still come back. They still want to love us. And we shake our fingers at them and we discipline them and they still love us and they still come back. And if we can love ourselves the way that our dogs, our pets love us, like, why can't we? And I believe that pets are here for us to learn from and to see the softer sides of life and the more positive, like carefree, effortless sides of life, and to just rest more, rest like a dog, and get excited like a dog, get stupidly excited about stuff like a dog, and just like, hello, Joe, and just connect with that free spirited, no responsibility except being there, except comforting. And I think that's the huge lesson that we could all take from tonight. And as I was kind of deep diving and just kind of opening myself up to the messages today, I had to Google one thing. And it was because I kind of knew I was getting the answer, but I wanted, not that I wanted to make sure, but I wanted to know what the internet said. Because I'm always like, I want to like debunk stuff. And I asked, do dogs have egos? And it was like, the answer was no. And the way that the internet explained it, and this made sense with other messages that I got about after. I was like, well, maybe it's the ego that I'm trying to like look for the word that I was thinking about. And why do dogs love us the way that they do? And they don't have an ego. They have a soul. They have a presence. They have an essence. They have a personality. And so it's the closest thing to God as we can get in a human, as we live as a human, Hello, Carrie. And so I believe that's why when it's time for our pets to cross over, that's why, they understand. And most of them, some of them just need a little coaxing. Like our dog, he wasn't, I don't know if it was his first life. I can't confirm or deny that, but he was confused as to why he was going. He was in denial that there was anything wrong with him. Like he was going blind. His hips, he could barely walk. His hips were going out, but 2 weeks prior to that, he was running and jumping. And I don't know why, if somebody can vouch or can testify why when dogs get to where, we're thinking about, putting them at peace, and then all of a sudden they'll pep up and they'll get a little better. And is that just the frequency? Is that just like raising their vibration because they're like closer to the veil. I don't know. That's the message that I got. It was because they're getting closer to it, and they kind of want to, like athletes, they get that like surge of energy before like the last couple laps or whatever. So maybe they're like just giving it their all, and and doing it because they're kind of feeling that they're no longer going to be here with their humans anymore. And it was interesting because when I had a conversation with my friend's pet, the pet had told me that she is very much aware of what her role is. And as much as she doesn't want to leave this world, she fully understands that that's her job, that's her role, that's her responsibility. And she can't do nothing about it. But what she can do is she told me that her energy is already is already shifting from her to my friend's other dog, the little puppy. And you could just tell the dynamic by watching those two. And it was the first time like I met the puppy, but it was just interesting to watch the two kind of interact. And the little puppy was so, like a puppy, wanting to do all the puppy things, jump around and bite and nip. But then when it came to the dog that crossed over, she would just stop and just like kind of look at her, and then just like put her head by her. And it was almost like, I wish you could stay. Kind of like, I know you can't stay, but like, I wish you could stay. Kind of in very what's the word I want to use? Like a puppy. Like they don't have an attention span. They have and then she was off doing something else. So like the attention span was perfect. And there's no doubt in my mind that my friend's dog's spirit and essence will live through her new dog, her puppy. And that was like so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that my friend invited me into her space, in a very emotional space, to say goodbye to her pet and to be able to communicate, to allow me to communicate with her pet in a very emotional time. And if you have pets, please go get them right now, or pet them right now, or after you watch this video, or whenever you watch this video, send it to somebody who is struggling with the grief, or just the fact that their pet is no longer with them anymore. It is not easy. It is probably one of the most painful situations that we as humans, can do, because we get the dog, we get the pet, we bring it into our lives, we allow it to sleep in our bed, eat off our plates, ride in our cars, lay on our floors. We allow it to be a part of all and every family member, and be a part of all of our activities. They sleep with us. Some of them go to work with us. And we develop a friendship and a bond, and they are essentially they're a part of the family. They're like another kid that needs taken care of, that needs to be fed, that needs attention and support and cuddles and love. And and then we have to take them out of our lives. Or if you have to do that, if something has happened where your dog has just passed on its own, or, you know, for whatever circumstance, but that whole like putting the pet down is hard. It's really hard. It just cracks you wide open. And there was a lot of things going on in my life when we went through that with Lola, or with Lola's the new dog, with Nigel. And like Jack had just left for boot camp. I had just like menopause hit like overnight. And there was just so much emotional trauma going on at that time that everything. I realize now that why all that was happening is because it wasn't going to come out. And like for me, I'm really stubborn. So when stuff has to be like worked out in my life, it has to be brutal. And it has to be very dramatic. Otherwise, I probably don't give it much attention, you know, because I'm just that way. I can kind of navigate through just about anything. So when something really needs to be dealt with, Spirit's really got to get my full attention and to get triggered in a plethora of ways. So if you have pets, I'm encouraging you all to just give them a little extra love today, tonight, or when you see them next, when you can spend, you know, time with them. And if there's something that you've been wanting to do with them, or hello Kelly, if there's something that you've been wanting to do with your pet more, you know, whether that's, you know, like Lola, she once in a while will go to McDonald's and get her cheeseburger and her french fries. I know that's probably not the healthiest thing, but I said once in a while we go, a couple times a year. Maybe it's just a car ride. Maybe it's a bath. Maybe they need grooming, or maybe it's a new toy or something. But, you know, they enjoy that as well. And we need to take our responsibility as well for being a pet owner. If you are a pet owner and you're choosing to be a pet owner, that is a choice, yes, but it's not a choice taken lightly. We have a responsibility to protect that dog and to make sure that it's taken care of. And that goes without saying. And some people think they're pet owners and, you know, some do a great job at it. And I'm not here to judge, but, you know, as a dog lover, I can spot when, you know, there's neglect going on. We don't want to get down that rabbit hole. But to bring up the judge part was another message. Because I was comforting my friend, and I said, there's no judgment. Like, God does not judge you for taking away something that he created. And your pet does not judge you for doing what, you know, this putting a pet down is an option. It's an option. And it's a responsibility to not allow your pet to be in pain and suffer, and to not just, you know, force them to die on your own. It is an opinion. It is a preference. Do you want your dog to, you know, suffer day after day, night after night, not sleep, not eat? No, we don't want to do that to our pets. That's just, I believe that's inhumane. That's an opinion. I'm not trying to promote anything here. I'm just trying to voice my opinion. And to get thinking about, you know, their pets. Because they're important to us, and they should be. If you have a pet, you should treat it the way that you would, you know, want to be treated. And, you know, people think, yes, they are a dog, but they are they are an important part of our lives, and they deserve to be treated like how they treat us. And that's my point. But they don't judge us. And I think that's really the important message. Another important message that I'm trying to get across tonight is that, you know, our dogs don't judge us. They just want love, and they just want pets and treats, and they just want to be with us. And that's like their main goal, is the unconditional act of love, is to just be with us and to help us. Like, I didn't realize how much anxiety my dog took on until he was gone. And then I went for, oh gosh, it was at least a year, if not longer, that I just realized, like, holy cow, I didn't realize how much pets absorb your energy until they're gone. And so, like, it just made sense. Like, okay, I'm just getting another dog. I'm just gonna get another dog. And I don't know how I could have gotten through the last 5-6 months if I didn't have Lola, because it was really like, you know, I was living alone, and it was just nice to have to come home, a reason to come home to, knowing that I have a responsibility. I have something to do when I get home, you know, because Travis and I are separated. And it was nice to just have that responsibility, and to know that, you know, I can go play with her, and I can go for a walk with her, and she sleeps with me, and I can talk to her. And so our bond grew very stronger during this whole separation. I think I covered everything that I channeled. So I picked this card tonight purposely. It's the love card. And you notice how it's got a person watching. It's either a sunset or a sunrise, kind of however you want to look at it. Cup half full, half empty. And then it has man's best friend here. And so I'm going to read the message from the book, from my deck. Okay. Embracing your uniqueness is an important part of your self-love journey. Loving yourself unconditionally is accepting all strengths along with all your flaws. Being okay with not being okay. Sometimes you are not perfect, and you are not designed to be. Forgiving yourself starts by giving yourself grace. Reflect on the past only to remember the lesson. Be grateful of everything you have in your life, and expect less to bring you happiness. You have been given a purpose, and that purpose is expressed by sharing your talents with the world. Explore what you love and I got kind of cut off there. Okay. You have been given a purpose, and that purpose is expressed by sharing your talents with the world. Explore what you love and combine that with what you're good at, and your purpose will be revealed. I really like that message. It goes with what I said earlier about loving ourselves as much as our dogs do, and loving ourselves the way that our dogs do. You know, our dogs are there for us all the time. So you need to be there for yourself. You need to put yourself first. You know, do you put your dog first before you? A lot of people do. You know, are you making time for yourself? Are you making time for your pet? Your time for yourself is also important. And are you, giving yourself treats like you do your dog? Are you spending money on clothes for you that you do your dog? It goes both ways. I hope that my friend's dog is, I know she's at peace, and I know that the next phase of that situation, you know, is going to be bringing up some things. It's like I said before, you know, grief has many layers, and it's attached to emotions. And I told my friend that I would be there for her no matter what, because intuitively I know how things are connected, and I'm very much in tune with how things are connected to other things that sometimes people aren't aware of, and they're just going about their busy lives, and they're like, yeah, it's just a dog. It's like, yeah, it's just a dog, but that dog's passing could be bringing up a whole slug of stuff that you haven't dealt with in however many years. So grief has a way of wedging and kind of getting its fingers, and I hope that helps. If you are going through grief, or you are going through a painful time in your life, please don't hesitate to reach out. We can pull cards and we can discuss options. We can talk about what you're struggling with and maybe what you're looking for in as direction. Otherwise, if you just want to talk, I'm also here as a friend. Thank you for watching. I do readings, and I'm also here as just to listen. So reach out. I'm here. Thank you for watching. Good night.